All right, it's Monday, October 27th, 10 o'clock, regular session of the Board of Supervisors. First item on the agenda is the agenda itself and the minutes from the October 20th regular session.
Move to approve both.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the agenda and minutes as presented. Any further comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Public comment there? Moving on to new business, Mr. Auditor.
Things are prepared and in front of you, sir. Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the claims as presented. Any further comment there? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Drainage.
Oh, we have a warrant register for payroll.
Oh, sorry, Bob. Payroll.
Super, period ending 10/18/2025.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the payroll registry as presented. Any further comment there? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And now drainage.
Have a drainage problem reported in Drainage District 35 on the main line. It's a large 30-inch diameter tile that appears to have a couple of, at least one spot broken, causing sinkholes. Would recommend it to be assigned to the watchman to investigate.
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second to assign this Drainage District 35 situation to the drainage watchman. Any further comment? My only comment is this like the third time on this line now?
Yes, not this exact spot, but very close to it. Yes, there's been previous work done out there. It's been looked at. This was a subject of improvement a couple of years ago, which the landowners rejected and defeated that improvement. So now we're doing repairs as they come up.
Okay. Further comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. One other issue under drainage, if I may bring that up again. We talked about the open ditch on Thornton.
Yeah.
And I was down there Saturday morning and there is some green vegetation. So I guess I put it on the, check it in the spring list with the watchman.
Absolutely. It's on the list for January. Bring to your attention to the trustees to determine if you want to send that out for different contractors to get bids to do the spraying for all, to at least review all of the open ditches for potential for spraying. So, yep.
I mean, big improvement, but there's still quite a bit of green.
And that's what Tyler had recommended, is that it may take a couple of years to get ahead of it because of so much disturbed seabed and first time it's seen light in a while.
All right. Thank you. Moving on to item number 4, Mr. Auditor.
Received a application for an easement through Drainage District 89. Bob Marion is proposing to build a nursery for pigs at that location. And part of that would be crossing a Drainage District tile. And with that, it would fall under the application process. And it explained to the applicant that historically the trustees have assign that to an engineer who specializes in drainage for review and then recommendations back and to make sure that it's following the procedures and conditions, and that all of those costs would be the responsibility of the applicant or him. And he was understanding that and agreeable to that. So with that, would recommend that it be assigned to an engineer to review and report back and make sure that it's abiding by the procedures and conditions of the drainage district.
I so move.
I'll second.
Motion and second to forward this on. Further comment? My question concerned with CAFOs in particular, but its proximity to the city of Rockville also. Is that
No, it's all under, it's
gonna be
2,400, yeah, it's under the,
DNR?
yeah, the matrix.
Yeah. So, being a Rockville resident, I didn't know if you had heard much feedback from, or if the neighbors even are aware of it.
I'm not sure. I heard was when he applied for the easement for the right of way, which my understanding is it's under the threshold. So there's nothing that can be done as far as the structure itself.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Item number 5 is to consider a letter of support for One Vision's request to open a 5-person site in Cerro Gordo County for recipients of home and community-based services.
I move.
Then, boy, go ahead.
I'm Heather Curtin, under One Vision, and refresher, if you've been on board for a while, no information, if you're not, in the code of Iowa, citizens to create homes for 12 people living together, people with disabilities. They have, as long as I can remember, allowed providers to request an approval for 5-bed, getting a letter of support from the area where the person or where that home is located. When I was hired in 2013 at One Vision, my first opportunity to do that was after the county has had regionalized. So my requests were made to Bob Lincoln with CSS or Russell Wood with CICS, depending on where the home was located. Russell just did a file for me back in May, but I know July 1st, the responsibilities in his office have changed. So I reached out to him about this home, and he said that HHS instructed their new office that that's no longer their responsibility. I reached out to Leanne Hospice at the state, she's one of the bureau chiefs, and she said that because the code of Iowa does say the county is the person or is the entity to give that letter of support, she's been recommending people to go to the County Board of Supervisors. So because the home we are looking at opening for 5 people is in Clear Lake, I'm here to talk to you guys about that. I believe Ms. Rush has drafted a letter in the package. What questions do you have about the home? About why you want to do this?
I move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the One Vision request as presented. And is there any further comment? Seeing as none, all in favor of the letter of support?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
Moving on to the highlight of the day. County Commissioner, County Conservation Weed Commissioner is going to give us his report and ask for the authorization of the county. Go ahead.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ryan Wilkie, the roadside vegetation manager with Conservation. I also get to wear the hat of the county weed commissioner. So this is just a quick overview of our annual report. I have to submit to IDOLs every year. We got the entire county sprayed for noxious weeds this year. And our primary target was Canada thistle. That's probably the worst weed we have issues with. A couple of the primary weeds are out there that we have in isolated patches. We got sprayed as well. We sprayed the entire southern half of the county for brush this year, as well as getting the very southern tier of the county all trimmed and cut back so there's no safety or visibility hazards at the roadside down there. That would have been in Grimes, Pleasant Valley, Geneseo, and Doherty townships. As well as complaints, I only had a couple complaints this year, which we were able to get on to Harvey's Way. I only had to send out 2 letters, which is nice to me, a little easier. Had a couple phone calls to make, but overall pretty relaxed season for us, and I think we got everything we needed accomplished. So
Just for clarification, for others here that don't, you do the whole county on the one project, but then you do the 4 corner or the 4 sections from north to south on an every 4-year basis, correct?
yes, so we break the county into tiers for our brush cutting and trimming season. So we were in the very southern tier this last year, and we'll move up to the very north tier this year. So we do with our trimming crews. And then for the brush spraying, we just split the county in half. This year we did the south, next year we'll do the north. The other one, we'll do the entire.
Thanks for the clarification.
Yep. Any other questions?
Yeah.
You have wild parsnip listed as other, and is that considered 1, 2, or a 3?
That is a secondary. So fortunately, they slide that one up to the primary. Excuse me. And I think we're gonna have to unfortunately go back on for a different. That one's pretty prevalent. That's one that I make sure we spray when it's around people's like mailboxes and things like that, just for a little bit of safety.
Thank you.
I would move to approve the report and authorize the chair to sign.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve and have the chair sign. Any further comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you for showing up.
Well,
Items number 7 and 8, I think we can do together. They're the manure management reports. I move to approve both. What you're doing that?
Thanks.
We have a motion and a second to approve the 2 manure management reports as presented and forward on the DNR. Any further comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Brandon,
I'll stand up there too. Why not?
good morning. I'll start off with a little update as to where we're at. Snow equipment's been slowly going onto the trucks. At this point, all of our belly blades are on the truck. We have our front lift roofs on the trucks. And we're gonna start replacing some of our wing posts on our graders. We're kind of do it slowly over time as we get closer to the time that the storm traffic gets something surprising us, but it limits how much we can haul and where we can go across scale. We're trying not to throw it all on until the last minute. We're trying to get this stuff that's a little more time intensive. So, snow equipment is slowly going on in all the trucks. As far as work goes, we're, out at the fairgrounds right now, clearing up that drainage ditch that we've been working at getting done. Cut out the gravel and washed out the system. Pretty much every day we've had to, so that's getting done as we speak.
and if I may interject, do you got the city's vehicle out there helping?
I met with them out there about it, and they are unsure without doing some more work around those intakes to try and fix the grading so it doesn't wash the gravel directly back from there. That it's worth their time, because their opinion's the same as mine. If they try and back too far into the system, it's just gonna permanently clog it up. So they could spot, clean out each one of the intakes, but it wouldn't help really in the end. So they're saying it would be best to have, if they're going to go around and put aprons around the intakes and do some better grading to help not wash the gravel directly and do it at its highest speed. They'd be more willing to come out there and do it at that point. But it's not going to be the return on the effort is not going to be there if they're calling back, trying to back up.
So they don't want to do the vac part yet.
Yeah, not even. It would be kind of a waste. I think the first time we get a rainstorm, it's going to be back to where they're at now.
Okay.
So yeah, I did meet with them out there, but it didn't sound like it was something that was real helpful.
Sorry to interject.
Yeah, no, you're good. Other than that, we have a couple tubes that we're resetting the roads. And when I say resetting tubes, we're not digging up the whole thing. It's the ends of the tubes. Usually migrate away, whether to the metal or the concrete, a little bit made out. So we have to bring them back together and reattach it. Trying to prevent some of the runoff across the road and problems around us. They're fixing up a few more of those. There's always a bunch of tile issues that we're intakes for repairing and other things that we're getting out as far as that goes. On top of that, they're doing their typical grading and they're mowing out there. That's not going to go away until the ground freezes up. It's nothing real specific or big going on, but also being prepared for the winter time. I did have a request come in. There's a small loop on B20. So if you start on Highway 65 and start heading west on B20, about 1.8 miles to the west, there's this little loop called Merganser, which has a bunch of little plastic round out there for what was imagined to be a housing development over a decade ago that never came into fruition. We have received a request from one of the owners out there to abandon that road. So I'm going to go through, I have to get people that are against B20. They have access to their properties, whether we have this little emergency in there or not. The one that I have to talk to all people, properties on the north side of the loop that will lose access to their parcels. So all the landowners signed on and agreed that they wanted it to be abandoned. It would no longer be a loop. The problem I have with that road is we don't maintain it, and we don't plow up there, we don't do anything out there other than pick up garbage on a continuous basis. So it's a pretty big divide, to be honest with you. It doesn't benefit us as a road department. There's no houses out there. So if all of those property owners agreed that they don't want that road, and I can see you guys possibly consider abandoning that.
That'd be a private drive.
Yeah, that's all it is, a private drive. They'd have to have all interconnected easements so they could get to their properties. And that'd be something that we figure out at that time.
And we don't have any adjacent property, it's just the the loop, correct?
That's all we have, is a loop from B20 and back to B20. I said, it's turned in mostly to a garbage dump out there. We have to clean up stuff out there, so it's not been a benefit to anybody so far. Most people don't want garbage on their properties, whether it's or not, so we just have to constantly clean it up out there. But very give you a heads up that I'll be contacting those owners on that. All the options people get B20 also, but the ones that are most important, the ones that are be isolated. Get rid of that, it's a road.
As I shared, the interested party had reached out to one, if not all three of us, and so I asked him, or told him we'd ask you today for clarification, and I'm assuming you're in contact with him and he'll bring it back to us at a later date.
It really has been a pretty big thorn in my side. So it turns out everybody's on board with this, so definitely you get my clarification. Other than that, I don't have anything big for you on this item. If you guys have any other questions, it's the next one.
No, so let's move on to item number 11 while you're standing there, Brandon.
Okay, so
Can we 10 or yeah, I got two sheets, 10 or 11, yeah. So this is on the Lark Avenue project, paving project for the development. And I just want to comment about what we talked about first. And that was in their specs that they sent us on the computer, the letter, not this sheet here, but the letter states 5 inches of concrete, which is basically our driveway set home, so to say. So Brandon and Steve Ullman from the city and I had a conversation Friday, and I'll let Brandon finish it from there.
So I'll do a little background on this. Within the city limits, which is just to the east side of the right of way, the Lark Avenue there's a proposed condominium apartment complex being built there. And they asked me if I was going to be able to pave that road one so they don't have a dust in there. And I said, I have no interest in paving that road that doesn't benefit the county. So I said, you guys can petition the board to get permission to pave this road. Then we went through the effort of getting all the estimates and everything, decided it was worth it time to pave that. Well, on my minimum specs on that was a 6-inch asphalt road. So the letter's confusing. The driveway they put in is 5 inches of concrete. Road's going to be 6 inches of asphalt with 12 inches of base and 2 foot granular shoulders on there to fit the road surface. So that's the minimum that I'll let them do. And I even after the phone call with Chris, I made sure to reach out to them and say this needs to be another and clarify and make sure it's clear that you're going to meet the minimum specifications that I stated for this roadway. And as part of this, if the board would agree, I'll allow them to pave this at their top. The road would have to be closed during the duration of that project. Didn't take them more than about a week to get that in out of there. 600 feet of pavement. It's not that big a deal. So it shouldn't be a long-term thing, but it would be no access to 600 feet in the project. So that road would have to be closed for that.
There was no curb and gutter. It was 2 foot shoulders, correct?
It's a rural connection, so I have no stones to it or curb and gutter go off.
But I guess before we do anything on this, and that's why I wanted Brandon's clarification, because Steve Ullman, the city engineer, Brandon and I had to call on Friday. Sounds like his recommendation and yours are close, but maybe we should go or ask for more. Was that what you gathered, or?
That's the city's recommendation was 7.5 inches. My recommendation was 6. And the reason I got to 6 on mine was I just reached out to this asphalt association. So in this situation, with this traffic, what's your recommended cross section? I recommended a 6-inch minimum cross section. So we could reach out to them and farm this beef up to 7.5 inches as the city requires. I didn't even think to reach out to the city for what they require. This, anytime our county policy or secondary roads policies, anybody that wants to improve a road from whatever condition it is up to a better state, it has to be paid for 100% by the applicant. So this fits the process. That's also why I denied it, because I had no plans of paving that road. So they're just going through the process of what I required, what our policy is for secondary roads for a road improvement. Now we would take it over for maintenance after that. because it's gonna be used by anybody that drives on that road. So it'd no longer be theirs to maintain, but that road should last, 25, 30 years as any asphalt road does.
And the discrepancy here is the letter that he sent following up
Yeah.
said 5 inches, and Brandon's and the cities are obviously higher, so.
Yeah.
Yes, I
That's
mean,
where we're at.
my initial concern, I mean, I'm supportive of the project, even though it's not ours. But if we're taking it over, I would hate for us to skimp
Yeah.
on the initial investment, and then all of a sudden we're having to repair it because we've shot ourselves in the foot on what it is, and then all of a sudden we're going in sooner to repair it for a private entity.
No, that's a good point. Like I said, my recommendation is based on what I got as a recommendation to me from the Asphalt Association. And obviously thicker is better for strength wise. So, I mean, if it makes you guys more comfortable, and I also agree with make it better, I can request that they thicken it up to 7.5 inches as a city spec. So,
I just don't know our trucks, if they're gonna be moving snow on it. It's one thing if cars are going over it to access them, but if we're putting our equipment on this 5 or 6 inches of asphalt, how quickly does that?
that should be, I mean, that's what, whenever we do a major a big thing or repave or almost down to, like when we did B43, that one was only 6 inches when we did that. So I mean, that's what we have done for highways.
Back to with what, I don't remember if Steve was talking concrete or asphalt or both here, but he said minimum 6 and up to 9, and I'm fine with your 7.5, but I'm assuming Steve would be fine with that then too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Seeing how it's
yeah,
county, city border.
yeah, I'm perfectly fine with the recommendation going back and saying, I presented it to you guys. And if you guys say we won't grant permission for them to pave it unless it's 7.5 inches thick, I'll go back with them and say that. See if they're still.
Is it city to the center of the road?
Unfortunately, before I was here, the annexing that happened went to the right of way line, even though Iowa code says to the center line. That's how roads are supposed to be annexed. I was not here when that happened. I have since I've been here made sure it went to at least the center of the road when they annexed. So
Cause we've run into that a few times on the jail road.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, yes, is where it's been fun.
that's not that I'm trying to be mean, it's just the Iowa code says center of the roadway and it just was not.
That's why I was asking, because everything is concrete with curbs coming up to it on the frontage road. If I need to continue by the city's recommendation or not, but not
My
there.
notes run that one. There's a new agenda she put in. My notes, my numbers are different.
I would rather than have curb and gutter for us to deal with. It works out fine for me to not have that.
But 2 foot shoulders should be sufficient, shouldn't
And it'll honestly be wider than 2 feet, but that's just the minimum required with.
I mean, I guess if the city threw out their 7.5, I'd move to approve with that caveat.
Second.
we have a motion and a second to allow the Lark Avenue project to go forth with the 7.5 inch as Casey called it, caveat. So all in favor? Aye. Passes. Okay, we are down to item number 11, Summit Carbon Solutions update. You'll take the podium, please.
I have some handouts, if I may.
Okay.
Right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for giving me the time to give a brief update about this project, where it stands, answer any questions that may come up. First, I want to talk about midsummer this year, around July time, we did switch executive management teams. Our new CEO, Joe Griffin, had sent out letters to every county official. Joe has 40 years plus of work experience in the pipeline industry, safely operating and constructing pipelines. alongside him, he's brought a team of industry experts that have worked alongside him for 25 to 30 years.
So you're talking about him?
That's me.
Okay.
I'm Joseph.
Okay.
Yeah, it's right here.
Okay.
Joe's. Yeah. If you want to set a meeting with Joe, that's why I gave out my contact card. You can contact me if you want to have a talk with him. Or we're also hosting these open houses. That's on the last slide of the sheet I gave you. November 12th will be the closest open house. It's in Floyd County in Charles City at the fairgrounds from 7 to 9 a.m. The entire executive management team will be there, not just Joe. But if there's any questions for the public that want to ask any questions, county officials, emergency managers, anything like that, moving over, the second slide briefly mentions one of the things that the new executive management team wanted to do when they first came in, and that's just put into words our reevaluated values and missions for our company, and we just want to put it in writing to be held to a certain standard. Moving over to one of the big things that have come out since probably last year was our community benefits agreement. I gave all of you a one-pager, kind of giving a brief update of everything like that. I kind of just want to first, I want to hit on emergency response. Summit has already promised a $50,000 grant plus $1,000 per mile type in the county. So for Cerro Gordo, that'd be roughly about $78,000. That would go to the emergency manager's office. They can use that money however they see fit, buying additional equipment besides what Summit's already going to provide, additional training that they may see fit, maybe a response system, anything like that. And that will be given to the office no later than 180 days before operations will begin. Moving over to a second point, we're just reiterating our commitment to open communication. Going back out to the counties, we're re-engaging with landowners. We want to make sure that we answer questions and concerns about the project, giving updates about where the project stands, everything like that. Moving over to the third point, which is one of the bigger commitments that we have looked at again, is landowner commitments. So we have added in a new $500 payment for granted survey access. With that along, there's a 72-hour notice that we have to give before we go out to someone's property. Alongside that, we've had some people ask about optionality they want for their easements. So rather than just taking the lump sum option up front, for tax reasons, they may want to defer payments over years or anywhere from like 5 to 10 years. There's a new option as well. It's tied to Summit's financial distributions to their stakeholders. So you could turn your easement value sort of into investing into the company's success. So when Summit decides to pay out their shareholders, the landowner would also get paid out that way. Alongside that, we've added a new royalty payment that goes to every single landowner across the project. And that one's driven by acquisition status in the state. So there's certain thresholds where that per foot amount will bump up based on acquisition curve. Alongside that, Cerro Gordo County also gets a royalty payment for their footage of pipe inside the entire county. But that acquisition is only driven by Cerro Gordo's acquisition numbers. So those thresholds are slightly different based on just the county's acquisition thresholds. I want to also mention water stewardship. So we're reiterating that our new executive management team came in, they looked at our water usage. We've heard concerns about it. So we've re-looked at the way we use water, the way we conserve and reuse water. We've looked at using air to cool some machinery rather than all water. So we're looking at limiting our footprint of water usage overall. I also want to just briefly hit on property taxes. Summit will pay $2.16 million property taxes annually for their capture facility and pipe in this county. I also want to move over to another big point that happened last month. September 15th, Summit filed an amendment to their phase 1 permit. I just want to kind of give some general reasons from Summit why we would file one. First, we've had landowner feedback since the permit was issued of they wanted to change the pipe, but we were kind of locked in. So for other reasons that we changed, we added those in as well. There have been updated industry recommendations to cross railroads and roads since we initially filed that permit. Railroads want additional depth to 30 feet under their railroad tracks. So we increased all those, which caused some slight changes to the footprint. As well, because of additional volume from the Valero Code plants, the phase 2 permit 2 plants, there have been a few lines, but not many segments that have been upsized. Cerro Gordo stays all the same pipe size as it originally was. And then finally, we wanted to preserve the optionality to go to a sequestration site. So in the permit originally it says to go to North Dakota to sequester. We just wanted it to be worded to say to a permitted well sequestered site. So we have looked at other options. One of those options is going west. We are still looking north, but we have looked west, and we want to preserve that optionality just in case we do go west or go north or both directions, that it's only a permitted well is required, not a certification. But that's all my recitation.
I just got one, where's the pipeline proposal change to consider South Dakota's vote? They plan on going up through Minnesota and then go west, or?
So that definitely could be an option. We're still looking at going through South Dakota for sure. Obviously, it's going to be more difficult with that law that was passed. We have looked at going towards the DJ Basin, which is a mixture of on the corner of Nebraska, Colorado, Wyoming, and Kansas. And that would be going that direction. So preferably through Nebraska, but we have also looked at going through Minnesota or South Dakota North as well.
I guess one other one you mentioned, they were looking, one big issue was water consumption, and you mentioned looking into air.
Yes.
Well, looking into air sounds kind of like broad, like air.
But we're planning on using instrument air. So using that flow down additional air just to cool down the compressors, because that's the majority of water usage that we're planning on using, is just to cool down the compressors because they're going to run hot. If you use air, it's not as efficient as using water, but you can lessen it by a certain percentage, maybe even half of our water usage, as well as we're looking at ways we can preserve the water we've already used, because once it goes through the system, it's would need to go to kind of a wastewater plant to reuse it and go through a cleaning process. So we're looking at ways that we can just kind of recycle that water, get more uses out of just the water than one use. But unfortunately, I don't have much information on those plants yet. We're still working.
Are you available then, or for one of your colleagues? We meet committee on emergency management, hazmat, as far as to answer any additional questions they may have.
Yes. Yes. Definitely one of my colleagues for sure. I could also be there. We also have a new emergency management kind of head of safety that he actually have his business cards if you would like. Might not run them. I can get your contact though and reach out to him. He's trying to meet with all emergency managers again in every county, just getting acquainted with them, talking about plans, details, whatnot. So,
Would you make yourself available after the meeting to talk to anybody else that's present here?
Yep.
Okay. That said, correspondence, announcements, anything?
second.
Motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned at 10:33. Thank you, everybody.